Marketers invest a lot of money in scent marketing, over 500 million, according to some recent estimates. Some of this effort is focused on ambient scent or in categories where scent is a primary attribute, for example, perfumes, home fragrances, candles. However, a wider range of product categories such as cars, consumer electronics, food and beverages have also strategically incorporated scent into their product offerings. Now, interestingly, the COVID-19 pandemic has increased the ubiquity of such fragrance application, given the ability of scent to convey a sense of cleanliness, protection, comfort, among other things. So inspired by these applications, our research, which is forthcoming in the Journal of Business Research, concentrates on product scent in categories where scent is not the primary attribute or reason to buy. There is a good amount of research around the ability of a product scent to improve significantly consumers' evaluations of products and shape their overall perceptions. Because pleasant scents produce pleasant experiences, this creates an overall effective response, which then transfers to the product being evaluated. However, in the marketplace, consumers don't really experience scents in a vacuum. And yet very little research has looked at the conditions that might facilitate or hinder consumer responses to product scent. Particularly, we look at the mere sound that brand names convey and how that interacts with a product scent for those categories where scent is not a primary attribute. So what our main findings suggest is that certain brand names will be processed in a more fluent manner, easier on the ear, if you will. And in such cases, product scent will have a role. However, for other brand names that are not as fluently processed, this way of processing information is somewhat disrupted, and so scent won't matter as much. In field studies, we basically ask people to try a new lip balm and offer them the possibility to buy it after they had tried it for $1 out of the $5 they were given as a compensation. And the lip balms were exactly identical except for the brand name and for the scent. And then we also used the laboratory experiment to further test our theorizing, use a different product category, in this case hand sanitizer, and the products again were exactly identical, but they varied in terms of brand name and scent. The basic premise to our findings is that in a language we learn over time to associate certain sounds with certain meanings. For example, the vowel A, like in frosh, is associated with smooth, rich, soft, versus the corresponding vowel E in fish, which sounds lighter and thinner. So if smoothness, richness, softness are desirable attributes for a product category, let's say a lip balm, then the brand name frosh will be congruent with those attributes that are indeed desirable for the category. Because of this sound congruency, this will make the brand name easier to be processed. So it is processed in sort of a fluent way, and this facilitates consumer reliance on peripheral cues, such as the product scent. On the other hand, this incongruity is likely to disrupt fluency, and so it will lead consumers to discount these secondary or peripheral cues that are not central anymore to the product category being investigated. This has important implications both for those marketers who want to maximize the impact of these strategically crafted scents and for those who want to reduce consumer attention towards inherently unpleasant product odors. Think of nail polish, for instance. Understanding how brand names might influence consumers' responses to a product scent is important because consumers are typically exposed to a brand name on the packaging before the scent, and companies invest millions of dollars and strategic effort in creating brand names for new products as well as product scents.